Scientists are becoming concerned about the number of people rescued from the 4 stations damaged by pro-Republican terrorist bombs on the 10th of September. While it is hard to be completely sure about just how many inhabitants each starport had, suspicions are growing that the number of individuals rescued over the 2 weeks exceeds the most optimistic estimates of the number of survivors at each of the stations. At Garrido Market, for example, the Hutton truckers alone rescued well over 250,000 souls, with the total number rescued from that starport by all pilots estimated to be in the region of 8 to 10 million. One of the bombed stations, Muller Terminal in Rab, a system with a total population of 50 million, is a Coriolis station. Assuming it is a 2 kilometre cube, that gives 8 cubic kilometres, of which at least 2 cubic kilometres are lost to the gaps between the tower blocks covering the surface and the sawn-off corners. A further 2 square kilometres are occupied by the spacious docking area, leaving 4 square kilometres, of which about half must logically be occupied by machinery, air purifiers, stockrooms, cargo storage areas. Have you seen how many hundreds of thousands of tons of cargo those stations hold? If we assume a population of 10 million in a Coriolis starport, then the living area must be incredibly cramped, something like 20 times higher population density than New York had before World War III. Even assuming there were no deaths during the attacks, something the imperial government has been tight-lipped about, more people were rescued from each of these 4 stations than there could have possibly been on the stations in the first place. So, where did all the extra people come from? Or for that matter, what are all the extra people? Are they people? Or something more sinister? There is a theory going round that the neo-Marlinists might have done something far cleverer than simply to bomb a few starports. The theory goes that by exploding bombs in 4 strategic starports, the neo-Marlinists were creating a smokescreen to hide their true purpose. Along with the Thargoid-derived bombs, the Neo-Marlinist Liberation Army also smuggled in robotic fabrication plants and cloning machines. Secretly, inside the abandoned starports, they have been building an army of cyborgs, an army of robots, an army of clones. Those unfeasible millions of refugees that gullible pirates ferried out of the damaged stations and distributed around Imperial space are an army. An actual army of cybernetic Republican freedom fighters, an army deployed to all of the Imperial strongholds, an army infiltrating the beating heart of the Empire. An army that has already proven its ability to pick off at least one senior member of the Duval family, the unfortunate Harold. An army that exists within society, unseen, unrecognisable. An army that has probably already infiltrated the Imperial Palace. An army that at a minute's notice could shut down key infrastructure, could eliminate key decision-makers, that could win victory before the Empire even realised it was fighting a war. An army just waiting for the signal to rise up and seize the Empire from within. The Empire is in its final days, yet it has no idea that its end is nigh. Of course, there is also the theory that the neo-Marlinists might just have planted a few bombs on starports, and that crooked Imperial tour operators shipped in vast quantities of ex-slaves to the damaged stations to take advantage of the generous compensation and resettlement scheme set up for alleged victims of the terrorist bombings. The Empire about to be ripped apart by a clandestine army of cyborgs? Or Imperial citizens making money by abusing a compensation scheme? Which is the truth? You decide. In the meantime, now that the fires are out, the effort to repair the stations started this morning. The stations have published shopping lists of the slightly bizarre repair materials they need, including normal supplies such as emergency power cells, insulating membranes and auto-fabricators, but also some more exotic components such as indium and beryllium. Do they even realise how dangerous beryllium is? There's going to be a mass poisoning at these stations before the month is out. You mark my words.